I would love to hear about your journey into spirituality.
I've never chosen it actually. I never wanted it, I think. Or maybe I felt I didn't need it. I'm talking about 30 years back. So it's my mother who started practicing meditation. And there was no word stress actually at that time. It was only in physics.
And a lot of our followers in the United States of America and other countries started following your work, listening to your videos while they were going through their chemotherapy and their radiation. Sister Shivani, it's a pleasure to have you today. And I have to tell you, we have a lot of our patients who follow your work, and especially after we did that conference on breast cancer. I would love to hear about your journey into spirituality.
I've never chosen it actually. I never wanted it, I think. Or maybe I felt I didn't need it. I'm talking about 30 years back. So 30 years back, the world was very different from today. Student life was simple. As long as you're doing academically fine, there was no word as stress. And there was no word stress actually at that time. It was only in physics. In emotions, we would only say tension one day before the exam, a little before the result. Otherwise, quite a simple life, quite a simple world. So it's my mother who started practicing meditation. And then, because she benefited, it would be like, you also must try, you also must try. And I was like, why should I try just because you're liking it? So I'm not interested in it. She spent quite a few years trying to tell me that you must try, it's very useful. I said, I don't need, my life is perfect. But the change that I started seeing in her, and also probably her vibration at home. See, we all carry our aura. So whatever we are thinking, speaking, behaving, doing, we're radiating that energy. So that energy at home, she was the one cooking for us. So the one who cooks for us, their state of mind directly influences us because their vibrations are a part of the meal. So in Hindi, there is a line which says, Jaisa an, Vaisa man, or Jaisa man, Vaisa an. So after a few years, just one day, without any reason, nothing wrong, not seeking anything, just one day I just said, okay, I also now want to learn what you're doing. I still reflect and I say like, why did I say that? And so I just said, I want to try it out. I started on the journey being from a scientific background. I was looking for a lot of logic in everything, but I wanted scientific proof. So if someone teaches me you're a soul, then I'll ask them to prove it scientifically. And everything can't be scientifically proved. It's more experiential. But coming from that engineering background, I thought everything has to be proved scientifically. So it took me some time to even say that I have started the journey. But there was no aha moment for me. It's been so gradual. And they just kept telling me, the sisters at the center, 3 months, don't think, just do. And you will experience the result. That'll be your proof for you. Nobody else can prove anything to you. And then one of them told me, even in your maths, you do the same thing. Assume A is equal to B, then do the whole thing, and in the end say, therefore A is equal to B. So you have to start with an assumption. So she said, assume I am a soul, now start. So that's how I started. That was natural. Once you benefit from something, you start talking to people about it. And then I came to the retreat center here, which is in Delhi. Started with small groups, talking about what we are experiencing. And I thought I was too young. I'm very young in the organization. I'm talking 15, 16 years back. And so we just sat on that chair the first time, and it was, I don't know how it happened. We just did 8 episodes in one day, one after the other. And that time there was no social media, so it went on television. And they got a good response. It's simple, we could understand. And that day I experienced that it's not I who was doing it. It was a very deep experience that I don't know all this that's come out in the content. And I thought it was a divine intervention. But I knew such things happen only once in a while. They can't happen every time. I'm the one who learns it first. So it's not that I'm sharing, I'm learning. So that's been the journey, about 15 years now.
Wow. Sister, I want to pick up on a point that you spoke about. I do believe that divine signals comes to everyone. And over the years, I've begun to think that, like, if anyone has a gift, which everyone has, it's the divine that's coming to you. The more you use it, I believe the more it comes. But if you block that gift out, I want to pick up on the point also that you spoke about science. I'm a huge fan of science, but at the same time, sometimes I feel the world today will only do something if science has said it can happen. Now, I know we should do that when there's medicine, nutrition, things that can harm you. But things like prayer, faith, religion, all of these different energies there is no science. It's how we feel, it's how we create things. And what's your take on that? How would you, how would you speak about being mindful about science today, but also trusting our inner instinct?
So initially, when I started understanding spiritual principles, I thought it was not scientific. Scientific means it couldn't be proved. But now on this journey, I've understood it's very scientific, but science of the inner world. So two sciences. One is the science of the outer world. So science of the outer world would be based on everything that you can prove and everything that you can see. Everything that you can see. Science of the inner world is about everything that you can create and you can experience. And when you experience something, you don't need proof from anybody else because your experience is your proof, right? So even if I have to explain to somebody that, you know what, when I did this program, I was not doing it, but I can't prove it to anybody. How many ever times I may have shared, how many ever times I tried to tell the person who was in charge, I don't think it will happen again because I was not doing it. They were like, yeah, we understand. But they're not understanding. Nobody can understand it because your experience will be your experience. But once you have experienced, you don't need proof because experience is the biggest proof. So now when we come to the science of the outer world, it changes from time to time. So today, if medical science is telling us something, tomorrow they will study it more because it's a continuous study. So tomorrow they will study it and the next year they might tell us something else. So the science of the outer world can change. The science of the inner world is experiential. It's not going to change. Tomorrow I could have another experience, but my this experience is my this experience. So I have now started believing it's very scientific. It's extremely scientific. It's just that I have to use that science, which means if I hear something, like if I learn from you, okay, power of faith or power of meditation or power of prayer, then I'm not going to nod and say yes immediately. I said, okay, let me take it back now. So why the world called it unscientific? Because people were not experimenting it. They would just nod and believe it. Then tomorrow somebody else will say something to them, they'll nod and believe that also. That is why people say this is blind faith. Blind faith because you were not experimenting it and making it your faith. You were taking someone else's faith and saying, yes, it works. No. What worked for someone else may not be the same for you. And if you want to make it your faith, first experiment with it. So call it your belief, then work with it. Experiment, and when you experience, call it your truth. Till then, it's a belief. So if you're telling me prayer works, I say, okay, this is your belief. Let me now take it. Now I will try it out. And I will do it with all sincerity, with purity of intention. I will do it. When I will experience that, then I will say, this is the truth. So it's a journey from belief to truth. In between comes my experimentation and my experience. Once it's my experience, I can stand alone against the world. Now let the whole world say, nah,
what they want.
aise hi hai. I say, don't worry, it's not for you. I'm not saying this is universally right for everybody. I'm just saying this is my experience. And now I can stand alone. But if it's only my belief, then tomorrow somebody says, no, it's not like this. I say, Another person says, no, okay. So I keep changing. So it has to be experimented with. That's why it's very scientific. Now, once I start experiencing that innate wisdom, we all have that innate wisdom. We all have intuition, which we call the inner voice. We all have a connection with the divine. But are we experimenting with it? I have to take out a little time to even experiment with it. But if I'm running and saying, I don't have time to spend even 15 minutes just being with myself, then I'm not creating a relationship with myself. I'm not creating a relationship with the divine. So if I'm not creating a relationship with both, and then there is a challenge in my life, I don't have that relationship to talk about it. So I will only go to people with whom I have a relationship. So they go and talk to somebody else. So whether we're talking to family members, what do you think? Should I do this? Should I do this? Going to a counselor, what do you think? Should I do this? Why don't you sit and talk to yourself? Because I never sat and spoke to myself ever. I've never spent with my time. So spirituality means first a relationship with myself. And second, a relationship there. And once I experience these two relationships, anything in the world, and anything means let anything happen, I don't find the need to talk to anybody else. I've never gone and asked anybody for my life situations that what do you think, should I do this too? No.
Wow.
Because at the end of the day, it's my karma. And the consequence of that karma is going to come as my destiny. And the way I'm going to face it is going to depend on my sanskar, my personality. So even if I take advice from somebody else, like even a simple thing like you said, should I stay in this relationship? Should I not? How will the other person be able to decide? Because the other person will give you advice based on their personality. So we come up with so many people who ask this same question, should I stay in this relationship? Should I not? So then we tell them, if I was in your place, I would have stayed. But whether you have to stay will depend on your sanskar, your personality. But if we tell them you stay, and they don't even have the strength to tolerate, to accept, to bend, then they will only suppress. And if they suppress, they will create chaos for themselves. So no one can take a decision for us. So even giving advice to people is so sensitive now. To be very careful, because even if you give advice, they will take it as their decision. And they will say, so and so said it, and so I did it. Not taking moral responsibility, and then not having the strength to face the consequence which that decision will bring, and then living a blame game even that time. So that relationship with the self is extremely important, and that is what meditation does. Spending time with yourself, and whenever anything comes up, just sit in silence with yourself. Because it's my karma, it's my past karmic accounts, only and only I know what is right for me. Nobody else would know.